Scott Podsednik takes strike one of the inside corner. Paul Nart is a home plate umpire, and Podsednik thought that pitch was inside. 3 hits, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs for Podsednik, who has had success against Zach Greinke.
But one thing, Ryan, about Podsednik right now against Zach, he's not sliding up in the box like he was previous. He's staying back in his original stance.
He was saying that in order to compensate for the movement forward that he had to start further back in the box. But with the way Zach's been pitching, I think you want as little movement as possible.
Well, when you're throwing 96 miles an hour, you want to be able to see the ball all the way.
And that's hit hard into left center, and Podsednik with great speed has an easy double. And he's going to think about 3. But the Royals missed the cutoff man. They would have had a shot at Podsednik. Runner at third, nobody out.
Well, we saw last night Rusty Kuntz was bringing his outfield in when Podsednik came up. Here Zach leaves a fastball out over the plate, and Podsednik goes in. He really splits the outfielders, and you know when he gets the ball to the wall, he's going to look for 3. Where Ross made a mistake here is when Mitch Meyer missed both cutoff men. You always got to hit that first guy to give yourself a chance to get the runner at the base.
Back to Zach. 1 away. So Ramirez out on 1 pitch. Here's the Kia scouting report on Zach Greinke.
Some of the key things to look here is 5 of his 8 wins have followed a raw loss, so hopefully he can get the Royals back on track today. And he's 3-0 in his last starts versus the White Sox with a 0.84 ERA.
Now before that, Zach's career record against Chicago was 3-8. This was not a good team for him. Last year, Zach's ERA against the White Sox was 7.25. He had 2 of his worst starts against Chicago last year. This year, 2 of his best starts. He's won both games against Chicago. 15 scoreless innings, 17 strikeouts. Jermaine Dye, like Podsednik, a White Sox hitter with good numbers against Greinke.
I think everybody will take 08 and just kind of slide it back in the closet because this is a different Zach Greinke than they've ever seen before.
Hard slider puts him ahead in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
This slider here, Ryan, he really probably want this ball to go down, but it's sort of backed up on him and out over the plate, and that's a hard pitch for a hitter to hit as a backup slider.
Royals bring the infield in with the count 1-2. Struck him out. You know, Frank, when Podsednik decided to go to third, I really thought the Royals had a chance to throw him out, and I thought that was going to be a mistake by Podsednik to try and stretch it into a triple. But you can understand his thinking. There's a big difference between a double and a triple against Greinke.
Especially in the first inning, and he's leading off an inning. And I think with his speed, he was probably thinking triple all the way, wants to split the outfielders. But, you know, getting back to fundamentals again, you got to hit the cutoff man to give yourself a chance to throw the runner out at the next base.
At the knees over the outside at 97 from Zach to Jim Thome. Thome 1 hit in the series. He has driven in 2 runs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Podsednik opened the game with a triple, but Ramirez grounded back to Greinke. Dye struck out. Thome with nobody on the left side gives the White Sox a 1-0 lead.
You know, that's usually a situation where Tien is usually in that spot where that ball went for a base hit. But with Podsednik on third, And his speed and maybe the chance of maybe trying to steal home, Tien was more toward third base, but normally he's sitting right where that ball went.
So Thome drives in his third of the series, and the White Sox score their first run all year against Greinke. And now Paul Konerko. Facing Zach Greinke has not been a good experience for Paul Konerko over the years. 3 hits in this series. He's driven in a couple of runs. 2 balls, no strikes. 42 career at bats for Paul Konerko against Greinke. 5 hits. That's a 119 batting average. Two and one. 81 degrees, mostly sunny. Game started on time at 1:10. Official time at 10, presented by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. Little low. Zach coming off a complete game. He beat the Tigers on Tuesday, allowing 1 run, 6 hits, no walks. He struck out 8 in those 9 innings. Into center field, and Mitch Meyer is there to make the catch. White Sox get a run in the first after Podsednik's game-opening triple. Because the last time Zach Greinke pitched, the Tigers scored in the first inning and didn't score again. Here's the M&I Bank Royals batting order in the 3rd straight game with Bloomquist and Meyer at the top of the order. Mike Jacobs will bat 4th. Jose Guillen will hit 5th today. David DeJesus moves down to the number 8 position. And it's the 4th consecutive start for Luis Hernandez at shortstop. And the 2nd game this year for the Royals against left-hander John Danks. Here's the Kia scouting report.
Well, his ERA in May in 4 starts is 6.23, so that's a good thing for the Royals offense to look at. And when he falls behind, opponents are hitting 389. So just be left-handers on his curve or slurve. That'll be his 2nd best pitch to left-handers.
Willie got the Royals going last night. He opened the first inning with a triple against Mark Burley. Scored on a Mitch Meyer ground out. Willie scoring 2 of the 3 Royals runs. Batting at .297, and he's ahead in the count 3-0. So the Royals leadoff man all 3 games of the series, but he's played 3 different positions. Center field on Friday, right field last night, And at second base today, and now he's on first base with a 4-pitch walk. Defensively behind John Danks, Podsednik in left with Dwayne Wise in center, Jermaine Dye in right. Same infield the entire series. Fields, Ramirez, Getz, and Konerko, and A.J. Brzezinski has started all 3 games, and the league has stolen 33 bases against him. Willie Bloomquist has stolen 8 this year, and John Danks is going to throw over there.
Now, the last time John Danks faced the Royals, I remember in Chicago, he really tried to hem the left-handers up with his fastball inside, and it seemed like it was just everybody was breaking bats that day.
With Greinke on the mound, the Royals thinking about moving Bloomquist to second base and try and manufacture a run here in the first inning. Danks has missed with 5 in a row. Meyer tried to bunt and missed, and it's 1-1. Mitch driving in 2 runs. Both times it was Willie Bloomquist last night. He's batting at .289 and getting a chance to play with Coco Crisp still out with the sore shoulder.
I think I would have made John Danks throw me a good strike right there. You know, he hadn't been close, and that ball was questionable whether it was a strike or not. So you really got to make sure that a guy's able to throw a ball over the plate before you give a strike away.
Fields comes weighing at third, and Danks thinking that maybe the Royals might turn a sacrifice situation into a hit and run.
Well, that's always an option, but Mitch has got to be aware that Fields is coming down, so if he bunts his ball, he's got to bunt it to first base. Otherwise, he's going to bunt to a force out at second base.
Willie not running, and Meyer fouls it away. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Was Mitch your number 2 hitter in Wichita?
He led off for a little bit until Chris Lebansky got going, and then I moved him to number 2 because he has the ability to pull the ball in the hole between first and second, and take advantage of his running speed in the lineup also. That's what I think. Bunting was never an issue. I mean, he can bunt. I think he just picked on a couple pretty tough pitches to bunt.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. John Danks against the Royals on April the 9th. 6 shutout innings, only gave up 3 hits. That's the fewest hits he's allowed all year. The Royals ended up winning that game 2-1 with Coco Crisp hitting a home run against Bobby Jenks late in the game. And Mitch is reaching out to stay alive. It's still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now, we showed you that Danks has had a tough time in this month as far as his ERA goes, over 6, but he got off to an excellent start after his first 3 starts. His ERA was like Zach Greinke's, 0.95. Brzezinski over near his own dugout. Fields calls him off, but it's on the roof, and Meyer is still breathing.
John Danks is really pounding Mitch away with his fastball. He's trying to keep away from giving him something to pull through that hole over there, and that's why I think he's staying away from his curveball and his slider right here and just trying to get him to keep the ball in the center of the field with his fastball away.
Two and two. John Danks, former first-round draft pick of the Texas Rangers in 2003. And Meyer Into center field, shallow, but Wise comes up to make the play. So Meyer does not advance Willie Bloomquist. 1-on-1 out. Billy Butler coming up. Danks was the big prospect that the White Sox received in a deal that sent Brandon McCarthy to the Texas Rangers, and the Chicago media was all over Kenny Williams for trading away Brandon McCarthy. But that deal has worked out a lot better for Chicago than it has for Texas. White Sox also received pitcher Nick Massett in that deal. Massett is now with the Cincinnati Reds. 0-1 on Billy. 3 hits, a home run in this series. Billy has hit in 7 straight coming in today.
Those 2 pretty quality guys that the White Sox got in that deal. Massey was also in Double-A along with Danks, and both guys were impressive.
No balls, 2 strikes. When Danks was with the Rangers, he was part of a group that they were calling DVD, which was John Danks, Edison Volquez, who's now pitching for the Reds, and a pitcher named Thomas Diamond, who's run into some injury problems and is pitching at Double-A. But the Rangers really thought they had a trio of young studs in Danks, Volquez, and Diamond, and none of them are pitching for the Rangers now.
Well, Diamond really had a good arm, and when he was healthy, he was pretty dominant when he was on the mound. But injuries will curtail your career and your development also.
Butler had asked for it and received timeout before that pitch was thrown. All right, here's a dumb question. If you're Don Cooper, the pitching coach of the White Sox, do you count that as a pitch?
You mean on the clicker? When
yeah.
I would, since he threw it, actually threw it, I would count it, yes.
Just missed the inside. Of course, it doesn't count as far as the count goes. It doesn't count on the scoreboard in our official pitch count. Here's the clicker. Bob McClure has the same thing, just keeping track of the pitcher's pitch count. Butler into right field, slicing away from Dye. Bloomquist to third. Dave Owen is going to hold him there as Dye makes a good throw to Chris Getz. Billy Butler puts runners at second and third with 1 out.
There's this changeup that really stayed out over the plate, and Billy stayed right with it. That changeup really, Danks wants that ball to go down, but that one stayed up out over the plate, and Billy did a good job hitting down the right field line for a double.
So second and third for Mike Jacobs, who has never faced John Danks. In this series, Jacobs 0 for 5, 3 strikeouts, including the final out of the game last night against Bobby Jenks. Pretty good swing. It's 0-1. Now, it's very early in the game, so you don't expect the infield to be in, but Zach Greinke is on the mound. So the White Sox certainly could have had the infield in, but not only is the infield back, I mean, the infield is way back.
Well, I think what Ozzy's saying is he's got confidence that he can score a run, but by bringing the infield in, and if Mike Jacobs gets a base hit, now the Royals have a chance to have a bigger inning. But he's willing to trade 1 run for an out at this point, and most managers don't even bring the infield in probably before the 4th inning in most games, but there's no guarantee that you bring the infield in that you're going to get a ground ball.
Especially with Jacobs, most of his outs are in the air.
Well, you see too many times you bring the infield in early and pitcher makes a good pitch inside. The guy bloops the ball into the outfield. It would have been a normal play. And this is early enough in the game. If your team's not going to score 1 run, then really you shouldn't be in this game to begin with. So you got to have the confidence that you can score 1 run against no matter who's on the mound.
Jacobs strikes out for the 4th time in the series, and now it's up to Jose Guillen. And there's that feeling, I don't know if there's statistics that back it up, but the feeling that the hitter's batting average goes up 100 points when you bring the infield in. Oh, 0-1 on Jose Guillen. Two outs, runners in scoring position. Jose Guillen hitting 80 points, better than his overall average. He's down 0-2. Jose hitless in this series, 0 for 7, and going back into the Tiger series, 0 for his last 11. He has 2 career home runs against John Danks. Fields gets a nice hop on the left side, and the Royals waste runners at 2nd and 3rd and 1 out.
Well, we're up on the party deck. It is the fantasy camp reunion, so all the campers are here as well as the alumni/coaches. And we got Willie Wilson here talking some stories and having fun. I don't know, how did your team do this year? I know Frank has bragging rights.
Frank has bragging rights, and our bragging rights is we came in last again, but we had the most fun.
Well, wait a minute. The year that I was there, which should have brought you down, we finished in 2nd to last with you and me together.
You were a little bit better than what we had.
See, there you go. All right, how much fun is it to see all these guys and plus the fellow alum as well?
Well, it's fun. The guys that came down to fantasy camp had a really good time. Of course, they get to bring their wives and kids to this event as far as the Kauffman Stadium. So it's just fun to see the guys, and then you see the alumnus, and you just have some fun, old lies, old stories.
Yeah, always all the old lies and stories, and you guys get competitive as coaches too. I know Frank was happy about that win.
I think Frank cheated. I think they had a bunch of guys that messed around, and then they came back the same year. And I don't know, man. It seems like they're always, it's either him or Pryor's team. But we have the most fun.
That's what it's all about. We'll let Frank respond in a moment. You've got a big event coming up in about a month and a half, right?
Yeah, July 17th. We're throwing an old-timers Legends baseball game. But before that, we're doing an event called Team Smile. And from 8 to 1 o'clock, and we're giving some kids some free dental care. So it really is a great deal, and we're just happy that Royals have sponsored and being a part of this event for us.
All right, good stuff as always. Good to see you, Willie.
Thank you.
All right, that is Willie Wilson. Frank, we'll let you respond now. The winning manager.
Some eligibility questions.
Well, I tell you, I've had 2 separate teams, 2 completely different teams in 2 years, and Big John and Leo and I, we just let them go out and free substitute and have fun, and we've been able to win. But you know, I've never seen a team finish last and have fun. I just can't figure that one out anyway. But tell Chill that I'm digging those glasses that he's wearing. I mean, only he can wear them. I couldn't wear them. But tell my champions out there that I said, hey, what's up?
My champions.
My champions.
That was a bit of a dig.
There's no Mayan team. We're gonna in a little bit. We're gonna have the gentleman who runs Kangaroo Court. Frank, you could expand on that, but you know, every team needs a Kangaroo Court, and it's one of the highlights of fantasy camp. So we'll talk with John Warden in just a little bit.
Well, Joel, there is a my when it's my team.
Pierzynski strokes it over Bloomquist. So the White Sox, for the second straight inning, begin with a runner on. Today's league leaders are brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. One of the new sabermetric stats that's become used more with pitchers is WHIP, and that's walks and hits per innings pitched. Zach Greinke has the lowest, less than 1 per 9 inning, with Jared Weaver and Roy Halladay behind him. So there you go. You have a 0.8 of a chance to get a runner on every inning against Zach Greinke. Today, the White Sox have 3 base runners in 1+ inning. Scott Podsednik opened the game with a triple with 2 outs. Jim Thome singled him home, and now Pierzynski with a leadoff single in inning number 2. Dwayne Wise into left center, carrying on Meyer, and Mitch runs it down. Had to put it in a different gear. That ball, with the wind blowing in that direction, carried more than maybe Mitch thought, but runs it down for the out.
Well, Wise really squares his fastball up. It's 95 miles an hour, but it's down out over the plate, and he was able to stay with it. And Mitch did a great job tracking that ball because it was going away from him pretty hard.
So Pierzynski still at first. And now Josh Fields, who has come up with 4 hits and 7 at-bats to add 13 points to his batting average. He's hit in 6 straight games. He did not leave the bat out too long. Paul Schreiber, the umpire at first, saying no swing.
Well, the White Sox they're really trying to make Martin play him honest down at third base. You know, the Royals have a tendency to move him way back, and they're saying, look, you know, if you're going to play back there, we're going to take advantage of it, and they want to get him right around the back where it gives him a better chance to get a base hit.
Oliva wanted an appeal, but home plate umpire Paul Nart said no, he did not go around, and it's 2-0. Two and one, and Zach, like most really good pitchers, if you're going to get him, you better get him early, and he has shown that this year. Mentioned last inning that Zach allowed a run in the first inning to the Tigers his last time out. They didn't score again, and the league is hitting 125 against him, 3rd time through the order. That is amazing.
That's almost like it's completely backwards.
Yeah. Tigers getting a soft run in the first inning on Tuesday. Zach did have 3 double plays turned behind him, but he finished strong, retiring 14 of the last 15. Again, they wanted an appeal, and this time he went around. So Oliva was pressing the home plate umpire Paul Nart an entire plate appearance. He wanted 3 appeals. He only got 2 of them, and the 3rd one's the charm.
Well, that one's hopefully. Yeah, this is the view you want to see right here. Boy, actually, that's real close right there, Ryan. They really kind of kept that bat head back.
Now Getz pops it up. Olivo calls for it. And that's the inning. Leadoff single for Pierzynski, but he never advances beyond first. So far, you see the caught looking on Fields. See, he's got the goggles on there. Caught looking on a K. Of course, the backwards K usually means taking a called strike. So 1-0 Chicago. Mark Teahen, Miguel Olivo, and David DeJesus here in the second inning. 1-1 to Teahen. 4 hits in the series. Batting at .286. Royals had an opportunity to tie the game, perhaps take the lead in the bottom of the first. John Danks walked. Bloomquist on 4 pitches. Billy Butler hit a 1-out double. So second and third 1 out, but Jacobs struck out. Guillen grounded out to third. Teahen shoots a curveball the other way, foul. Up the middle, tough play for Getz. Leaps and throws, but it's too late. But Danks made a good pitch on Teahen, who was jammed badly, but put it in a great spot.
Well, that's the one thing. Sometimes it's not bad to get jammed when he can keep the ball in the middle of the field. And when you run like Mark Teahen, that's an easy base hit. No, Getz did everything he could right there, Ryan. He fielded the ball well. Got in the air, but if you got speed, those plays don't get made.
So it's been a good week at the plate for Mark Teahen. He was hitting .264 at the beginning of the homestand, and now he will add to his .286 average coming in today. That puts him at .290 with his infield single. Miguel Olivo 1 for 7 in this series. His one hit was a home run in the bottom of the 8th last night to tie the game at 3 off of Mark Burley. And that's into center, and Fields will have to play it on a hop. Dwayne Wise, that is. So 2 on, nobody out.
Miguel is not really known for taking pitches, Ryan. So right here he gets a changeup that came down and in, and he was able to stay inside of it and then force it in the center field for a base hit. He really kept his head down and everything. Now
David DeJesus hitless in this series. with 3 strikeouts. He does have 5 sacrifice bunts.
This will be an interesting situation for Trey Hillman with Luis Hernandez coming up next.
And let's face it, getting a runner home from third with less than 2 outs has not been a strength for the Royals this year. And you figure David DeJesus is going to get hot eventually. It is still like an illusion when you look up at the scoreboard and you see 234 next to David DeJesus' name. One ball, 1 strike. Including the first inning, the Royals' batting average this year with runners in scoring position is .238.
Well, David is 5 for 14. The thing about Danks, he's got to make him get the ball out over the plate because he likes to crowd the lefties with his fastball inside.
Hit hard to center. Wise was shallow. Long run back. He's not going to get there. Tien will score. Olivo is right in his back pocket. 2-run double for DeJesus, and the Royals take the lead.
Now this is a game of angles here, and Wise really was going straight back, not realizing that the ball coming off a left-hander's bat was going to go back to left center field. And when by the time he made the correction, David DeJesus had a double and 2 RBI. Olivo did an outstanding job of base running right there.
And now a runner at second and nobody out. Hernandez, a good bunter, fouls it away. Well, this is the final day of May. Bookends for David DeJesus. The first day of May, he had a multi-RBI game, and he didn't have another one until today. He has driven in 20 this year. And now Hernandez swinging away and fouling away. Tien with an infield single. Olivo single to center, and now DeJesus driving him home. And Hernandez was doing whatever he could to try and get one to the right side, but chased a bad pitch. Second strikeout for Danks. Actually a very good pitch by John Danks. He looked like he threw it away to try and get Hernandez to think away, but put it in a spot where he couldn't do anything with it.
It's an unhittable spot. The first fastball looked like Luis had a tough time deciding where he wanted to bunt the ball. Well, the first base or third base got caught in the middle, and then he had swung at a slider down under his swing. And his mindset, like you said, is still to the right side, and that ball just a running fastball, and he really can't catch up with that ball once it starts tailing it at 92 miles an hour.
Ball 1 on Willie Bloomquist. Walked in the first inning. Our Firestone leaderboard, Major League triples leaders by team, and the Royals with a huge lead in that department. It's 2-0 on Bloomquist, who hasn't seen a strike yet. 4-pitch walk in the first inning. So the Royals with 20. They've hit a couple in this series. Bloomquist and Meyer. Next closest, the Mets. They're at 15. Bloomquist hits it hard to left, but Podsednik is there. Willie hits into bad luck, and DeJesus at second base with 2 outs. Coming up this week on Fox Saturday Baseball, Grady Sizemore and the Indians will head to Chicago and take on these White Sox. Showdown of division rivals. Fox Saturday Baseball returns this week at 3 p.m. on Fox. Mitch Myers swings at a curve and pops it up. Ramirez lost it, and it drops. I don't know if he called for it initially, Frank, but Getz cleared the scene, and then Ramirez was trying to reel him back in.
Well, there was definitely some communication problems there on that one. You know, right away he's calling the ball, and where Getz makes this mistake is he doesn't peel back towards second base. He stays out there, assured he was going to make the catch. So after the ball fell, there was no place for him to throw the ball because second base was not occupied by a White Sox fielder.
That seems to be a weird trend these days. In the infield or the outfield, one guy calls for it, and the next closest fielder runs away like the guy's got measles or something.
Well, your middle infielders, one of those guys, once the other guy called it, you got to peel back to second base. You can't hang out there watching, see if he's going to catch the ball. You got to get back to second so the batter runner, if there is a miscue, then you can have somebody at second base to throw the ball to.
When you see it in the outfield so often now, it seems like the cool thing to do is a guy calls for it on a routine fly ball. The other guy just starts jogging in. I mean, no going over to back him up. Butler doubled his first time up. Pounds this one to the left side. And Fields over to Konerko, and that's the inning. But the Royals come up with 3 doubles with RBIs for DeJesus and Meyer. By Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And by AT&T. Switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Is that the Village People? Is it? Well, not the Village People, but is that the look they're going for? Might be the Village People's kids. Scott Podsednik opened the game with a triple to left center field, scored on Jim Thome's single. Jack falls behind 2-0. 1 run, 3 hits for Chicago against Zach. Zach has struck out Jermaine Dye and Josh Fields. 3-0. Three and 1. Zach has walked 12 this year, and that is in 77 innings. It's the third lowest walk to innings pitched ratio in the American League. Hit hard. Bloomquist from the grass gets Podsednik. Good play.
I tell you, the way Willie's playing everywhere and anywhere, I mean, to make this play right here, you think he's been playing second base for a long time. I mean, he made that play so easy. He got his body angle right. He caught the ball off his left leg, made his 360 turn, took the time to pick up first, and made a nice throw. I mean, that you're talking about just being a fundamentally sound player, defensively and offensively. That's Willie Bloomquist.
Well, this is his most natural position. And it seems like a million years ago now, but remember, it was Bloomquist, Cayaspo, and Tian fighting for second base in spring training. That curveball may have broken some panes of glass. Others, it would have bounced off.
Well, this is one that it comes up every now and then. Ramirez says, man, is it ever going to get here?
I don't know if that swing makes the list, but his swing from Chicago to begin the season is at the top of the list against Gil Mesh. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Grounded out to Greinke in the first inning. That was a big out after Podsednik's triple. Ramirez grounded to the mound. Dye struck out. Zach almost got out of it. But then Thome singled with 2 outs. Fastball hit to Billy. He'll go to the bag himself. 2 up, 2 down. Let's take a look at today's You Call It, presented by Sprint. Again, don't use your computers. Just use your instinct. A little trivia today. Who has the most home runs against Zach among big hitters in the Central? A. Jermaine Dye, who bats now. B. Justin Morneau. C. Grady Sizemore. D. Jim Thome. Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals followed by a space and your answer. Standard text rates apply. Jermaine struck out swinging at a slider in the first inning. Slow curve followed by a fastball at 94, and it's 0-2.
94, and it probably looked 99 after that curveball.
Just missed the corner. You see the home plate umpire immediately shaking his head, saying nope.
Well, that one had a little tail on it inside, but man, that's one of the ones that you sit in breaking ball and you can't swing at it.
Slider strikes out Dye. That's 3 for Zach, and he gets the White Sox in order in the third. She works tirelessly to promote academic debate at Central High in Kansas City, Missouri, bringing the school's program to national prominence. And this year she was named Debate Kansas City Coach of the Year. So congratulations, Jane. Mike Jacobs leads off in the bottom of the third inning. Struck out in the first. That was a big out for John Danks. The Royals had runners at second and third and one out. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Jacobs 0 for 6, 4 strikeouts in this series, and his average down to 247. That's where he finished last year with the Marlins. Hammered to deep right. Dye is back. It's over his head and almost through the fence. Jermaine has a great arm, and Jacobs has to hustle for a double. I don't know if anyone hits him harder than Mike Jacobs when he gets it square.
Well, you can definitely tell when it comes off his bat that ball is really hit hard. This is a slider that stayed out over the middle of the plate, and Mike Jacobs really got a good turn on it. And it was one of those line drives that Jermaine Dye didn't have a chance to really get going good before the ball was already over his head.
So runner at second, nobody out, and now Jose Guillen grounded out to third in the first inning. He'd like to avoid that in this at bat. Jose now 0 for his last 12.
This situation here where you really like to see him take a shot to right field and try to advance the runner. Just try to drive it.
Chris Getz in shallow right, and 1 down. Here's today's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison for Danks and Greinke, and Danks will run it up there. 94 today. Zach at 95. Fast is even faster. Double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. And now Tien, who started the 3-run rally in the second inning with an infield single. Olivo followed with a single. DeJesus, we were wondering if he would bunt or not. Trey Hillman let him swing away, and David rewarded the manager with a 2-run double, and then he scored on Mitch Meyer's bloop lost in the Sun double. Off of his foot. Tien has hit in 5 straight. Mentioned after his infield single that his average was at 264 when this homestand began against the Tigers. So 26 points tacked on to his average, now at 290. Two and one. Royals with 6 hits today, 4 doubles. That's a good pitch, and the count is 2-2. Third strikeout for John Danks. 2 down in the third inning. You can watch the Royals and the Rays on Tuesday at the KC Live area in the Power and Light District. Admission is free. All ages are welcome, and everyone has a chance to win great prizes. It all starts at 5 o'clock, so head out to the Power and Light District on Tuesday for a good time with slugger, and other Royals fans. And now Levo singled and scored in that 3-run second inning. The Royals are ahead 3-1, but they've already had a few situations today where they haven't moved some runners. Second and third, one out in the first. And then DeJesus, after his 2-run double in the second, did not advance until Meyer, with 2 outs, looped one into center. And now for the second straight inning, a Royal comes up with a big hit with 2 outs to get that runner home from second base. 4-1 Royals in the third.
Miguel Levo's really done a good job standing in the middle right here. Takes a fastball and just hits it right out in the center field, right to the left of Ramirez. But I agree with what you were saying, Ryan, is that you're only going to get so many 2-out base hits with men in scoring position. That's the hardest one in baseball to get, and the Royals really going to have to keep working hard to try and get that runner to second base, third base, and nobody out.
Well, offensively now, it's really come down to if the Royals get 2-out hits, they win. If they don't, they lose. And that's holds true for most teams in the major leagues. But when you're not getting 2-out hits, you still have to find ways to score runs.
Well, you do, and that's the best way to do it is that advanced runs. That the first guy that comes up.
Another drive to deep center up the bat of DeJesus. This one had some topspin on it, and Wise makes the catch. That's the inning. Royals add a run.
Well, you know, we talked before that every fantasy camp and every team needs a kangaroo court to keep everybody in line, and the judge is John Warden. And let's slide a little bit over here, and of course you're the judge, former Royals minor league pitcher, former Detroit Tigers pitcher. Talk about some of the violations and keeping all these people honest. I think I forgot to wear a helmet once.
Well, sometimes like you know, no helmet because you got a hard head. You think it's not going to hurt you. A lot of guys don't get all the belt loops. Some guys trolling and leave their zipper down. I get them $2 for trolling, you know, things like that. Bad plays in the outfield, throw the wrong base, fall down. They tie their shoestrings together, not by each shoe.
This is not John Goodman, the actor, by the way. This is former pitcher. We're going to move over because we're getting blocked a little bit here. How about we come right up here? We'll go right behind the ladies here. And here we go. Not John Goodman, but John Warden. And you've known Frank for many, many years. From back in when he was in the academy, right?
Yeah, I met with Frank. I was in extended spring training because I hurt my arm, and then Frank was in the academy, and the only guy to come out of the academy to make it to the major leagues, that was Ewan Kaufman's dream. He thought he could make ball players out of guys. They had a lot of speed, and of course Frank couldn't run at all. I don't know how he got out of the academy, but I could outrun Frank actually. Can't now, though. But then also John Wathen, man. I was his first roommate.
Tell us about how that went. A young John Wathen, I'm sure he could run well. Well, Ryan would say it. He runs well for a catcher. But tell us about a young John Wathen.
Well, he came in, and of course, I had already been in the big leagues for a year and been on that World Championship team, and he was my roommate, and he looked and everything. He's the first guy I ever seen take a shower with his clothes on. Very modest guy. And, I tried to get, naked with him a couple times.
Oh, boy. Family show.
Yeah, I know. And then he never got, very modest guy.
Wow. How about that? Actually, I've heard that story before. It's pretty good. You really make it a point of letting everybody laugh, and I know that you pitched in the big leagues, but how much fun do you have going around to these camps? And obviously you've got your Royals ties as well, telling stories like that.
Yeah, well, it's fun, and it's great to meet you guys and see a bunch of the campers here today, that they haven't come out. We do the same thing in Detroit. They have 2 weeks of camp, and it's just fun. This is what I cut out to do, man, because I love seeing people laugh, have a good time, get their mind off maybe some troubles they might have personally, and it's just a fun week. And if you've never been to the Royals camp, you people out there listening, it's a great week. It's a Monday through Friday. It'll be the quickest 5 days and the most fun you ever have. So, call in the Tigers, get hold of Dina Wathen, and get signed up, because it's a big time. It's really fun, Joel.
It is a lot of fun. All right, well, we appreciate it. And just if you're looking up John Warden's records, he pitched for Detroit, and you were part of a magical season, weren't you?
It was a magic year in '68, coming off the riots, and '67 they lost to Penn by 1 game. But Danny McClain and I sort of carried him. We were 35-7 combined that year, and I had 4 of those.
There you go. See, he was a big part of it. Really makes everybody laugh. And not sure about the visual on the John Wathen story. Guys, back to you.
Well, it just gives the Royals fans some history. I always thought it was Tony Pena and John Cumberland were the first to shower in their clothes. But apparently John Wathen was the first.
Well, I was afraid to make a comment because I was afraid of the comeback.
1-2 on Konerko. Flied out first time against Zach. That's into shallow left center. And for the second time, Konerko is flied to Meyer. Tomey back to first, and 1 down.
When they were talking about showering in their clothes, that means in a uniform after a game. They had a bad game and they're upset, so they go take a shower in a uniform. Is that what he was referring to?
I guess so. Well, but he said Duke was modest. He didn't mention anything about a bad game, but I remember in 2004 when the Royals were predicted by many to win the division and we had a 100-loss season, that Tony Pena, trying to change the mood of the clubhouse, invited the team into the showers in their uniforms so they could shower the bad thoughts off.
That's getting a little too deep for me. I tell you what, I think I would have been one of those guys that say, hey, it ain't about that. It's about playing good baseball.
1-1 on A.J. Pierzynski. Singled leading off the second inning. Never got to second. And Zach retired the next 3. He had retired 6 in a row before Tomey's base hit to begin the 4th. Great pitch over the inside that had Pierzynski jumping back. It's 1-2.
That's that two-seamer that he uses right there. All he wants to do is make the left-handed hitters give just a little bit. A little flinch and he can't swing, and the ball comes back and catches the inside corner.
Pierzynski, one of the toughest in the American League to strike out. 98 miles an hour.
Well, Zach had him set up for this pitch here, and the thing I like about Zach will finish you off with something hard, and most guys looking for breaking balls right there, and that's an unhittable pitch.
Into right center. Now Tomey does not run well, and the Royals just need to get this back to the infield. The throw sails over Bloomquist. Hernandez cuts it off. It's a double for Pierzynski. And luckily for the Royals, it was Jim Tomey running at first base.
All that pitch was location, Ryan. The pitch before, Zach got it down out over the outside corner. And here Miguel wants it in the same spot, and Zach throws it on the inner half, and Pierzynski was ready for it.
There were no flames left on the base paths.
Not much dirt kicking up after that one.
Dwayne Wise fly to deep center his last time up. Mitch Meyer made a nice running play. Second and third, and only one out. Jim Thome's single coming on a 1-2 pitch, and then Pierzynski at one point was down in the count 1-2. No balls, 2 strikes. Dwayne Wise coming off the disabled list before the first game of the series. He had separated his shoulder diving for a ball. One ball, 2 strikes. We first saw Dwayne Wise in 2000 playing with the Toronto Blue Jays. He was a Rule 5 pick from Cincinnati Reds. Didn't get into many games. He was hurt that year. Only played in 28 games. Going from A ball to the big leagues. Hit hard but foul. I asked him about that before the game on Friday, and similar response that Emil Brown had about being a Rule 5 pick, that at first you're excited, you're going to the big leagues, but in retrospect look back and you think, man, that really hurt my development. And it took Dwayne Wise several more years after that to get back to the big leagues after playing in just 28 games. Emil Brown was out of the big leagues for 4 years before getting back to the big leagues with the Royals. Just foul again, still 1-2. Royals have a day off tomorrow, then have a 10-day road trip beginning at Tampa Bay on Tuesday. Coverage begins at 5:30 with Royals Live, and the first pitch at 6:05 in HD here on Fox Sports Kansas City. And perhaps Joakim Soria will be available for Tuesday's game. Zach has struck out 3. 2-2. This is the offense that the Royals will be facing in Tampa Bay. Evan Longoria leading the league in RBI. Pena in home runs. Bartlett in average. He's on the DL. And Carl Crawford at stolen bases. That's a tough offense. Got him looking. Dwayne Wise didn't like it. Looked like a good pitch from here at the knees over the outside part of the plate. 4th strikeout for Greinke.
Well, when you get pounded inside with hard sliders and hard fastballs, and the first pitch away is on the outside corner, it's just a common theme in your mind that, hey, look, that ball's got to be outside. And it just ran right away. That's an unhittable pitch. And Zach really set that pitch up well by pounding the ball inside very, very well to Wise, both the breaking ball and the fastball.
So 2nd and 3rd and 2 down. Here comes another K with eyeglasses. The K looking. As well as the names attached with each strikeout. I guess I was the first one. Then Frank, then Joel, then Dye, then Fields, then Dye again, and then Wise. Oh, they're saying hi to us.
That's the first time I've seen the player's name attached to the strikeout.
There you go. That's original. Oh, 2. Zach struck out Fields with a fastball in the 2nd inning.
Well, this is Zach's signature pitch here after his fastball, that hard breaking ball, that hard slider, and hitters, because of the arm motion, have a hard time picking it up.
Thome at third, Pierzynski at second. '97. Up the middle into center field, and that's going to be worth 2. All 3 hits in this inning for the White Sox coming after the hitter was down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that is the first time in 11 starts that Zach Greinke has given up more than 2 earned runs.
But the mistake he made there was not that the pitch was down. It was down, but it was in the middle of the plate. He probably wanted to get that slider off to the outside corner because Konerko's a pull hitter, and you leave ball in the middle of the plate, and he's a low ball hitter. He'll get his bat on it.
Now Butler makes a backhand play into the bag, but the White Sox are right back into the game. They get 2 in the 4th. In the 4th on a hit from Josh Fields, and Zach almost got out of the 4th by striking out Wise prior to facing Fields.
Well, you see here when Zach is dominant, these pitches are really working for him. His fastball is really popping, his slider's really dipping, and he's able to really set up what he wants to set up. And he was able to go inside with his fastball and his slider and then set up a fastball away for the strikeout.
So 4 strikeouts. He was going for his 5th strikeout. He was ahead of Fields, 1 and 2, but Fields with his 5th hit of the series, driving in Thome and Pierzynski, and it looked like it was going to be another runaway Zach victory with the Royals ahead 4-1, but the White Sox making it a 1-run game, and we're only in the bottom of the 4th. Hernandez struck out in the 2nd inning. Bloomquist and Meyer to follow. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Let's find Joel Goldberg.
Well, we're up here and we got Jeff Montgomery and Monty taking it in today, and of course the Fantasy Camp Reunion as well. But first off, thoughts on Zach Greinke, whose ERA is now, as we see the hit, skyrocketed, but still looking pretty good.
Well, it's a pretty good sign when you're this late in the season, you give up a couple runs, and your ERA is just now finally probably getting to the 1 level.
Yeah, so it's been fun to watch him. What about, we just saw shots of Joakim Soria, and obviously you know how important that closer's role is. They haven't had a lot of save opportunities, but what's it going to do to this team just to have him back there and hopefully activated on Tuesday?
I think regardless of the amount of save opportunities, I think his presence in that bullpen does a lot for all the guys, and it starts at the top. When you got that guy like a Soria at the top and you work things backwards from him, everyone's got a much better comfort level. It's easier for them to do their job, and I think it's not just a coincidence that the team has had their struggles in his absence.
That's a good point. All right, let's talk a little bit about fantasy camp, and I know Frank has been enjoying the bragging rights all day with his team. How competitive are you out there as a coach?
Well, we're very competitive, and Frank, this past year really turned it around. He's kind of like a worst to first, so Frank, congratulations again.
Now, I think he'll let you know it's back-to-back, but we only remember the bad ones as when it's the other team. And what about a chance to hang out with all these people, and I know how much they get a kick out of seeing the former Royals here as well.
Well, the fun part is a lot of these guys we've gotten to know over the last 5 or 6 years, and a lot of regulars come back, but then you get a chance to meet some new guys that come in, and once they get in, they're hooked. They want to do it for every year for the rest of their life. And I think our alumni, we enjoy it just as much as the campers do.
Well, it's good to catch up with you. You're not going to suggest, like I think Willie did before, that there was no cheating involved with Frank, was there?
No. I'm going to give him credit. They did a great job at their club. They worked hard in spring training. They got the team ready, and they had a great year.
There you go. See, it must have been that speech from opening day, guys.
Bloomquist to center field, caught by Dwayne Wise. So Willie is 0 for 2 with a walk. Hernandez back to first. And 1 out, and now Mitch Meyer. Mitch with a bloop double in the second inning, capping a 3-run second. A ball that was lost in the sun by White Sox shortstop Alexi Ramirez. 3 runs driven in the last 2 games for Meyer. Royals with 8 hits in the first 3 1/3, half of those doubles. Little high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's DJ Carrasco, former Royal, warming up. We've already seen former Royal Jimmy Gobble in this series. Danks at 61 pitches. And pitch number 62 is in the dirt, 2-1. Hope you had a chance to hear Jimmy Gobble visiting with Nate Bukaty during Royals Live today. It's quite a couple of months there for Jimmy, thinking he was going to make the Royals roster, then was kind of a surprise when he was released, picked up by the Rangers, which was convenient because the Royals and Rangers share a spring training facility. And then was released by the Rangers, signed by the White Sox to a minor league deal, and then recently called up to the big leagues.
Well, sometimes you get on that little roller coaster and you sort of doubt yourself as whether or not you can pitch anymore or not. And I was in talking to him the other day, it was just in his mind lucky that Buddy Bell remembered him and gave him a shot to get into the White Sox system, and you just wait and do your job, and before you know it, you're right back here again. So he was real appreciative of the opportunity to get back in the major league.
DJ Carrasco, similar to Joakim Soria, was a Rule 5 pick back in 2003 when the Royals had that surprising year. Meyer is down on strikes. 4th of the game for John Danks. So leadoff single, Hernandez still standing at first for Billy Butler. Well, the 3rd T-shirt Tuesday is going to feature a pitching ace, Zach Greinke. First 20,000 fans will get this great summer accessory Saturday, June the 16th, as the Royals take on the Diamondbacks at 7:10. Ball 1 on Billy Butler. Billy with one of the 4 Royals doubles. That was back in the first. Grounded out to third his second time. Two and 0. Over to third base coach Dave Owen.
Well, Dave's trying to be nice here, and they got to fighting over it, and the ball hit him on the elbow instead of in the glove. He'll always remember that.
Well, we always encourage fans to bring their gloves, but before that, we also encourage fans to read the instructions. 2-2 on Butler.
He overextended the throw.
I think what he meant to do is, in order to get an advantage over the guy next to him, he probably should have pushed his glove closer to Dave Owen, not straight up in the air.
He'll never forget that.
3-2, and now Hernandez will get an early break on the next pitch. Danks has labored through 4 innings. 2 base runners in the first, got around a second and third, 1 out, gave up the 3 runs in the second, another run in the third. Leadoff single to Hernandez in the fourth. Hernandez runs, and Billy fouls it straight back. 8-game hitting streak for Billy Butler after his double in the first inning. And I mentioned it last night. A year ago Friday was when Billy was sent down to the minor leagues for a month after getting off to a slow start, and now this year the average is climbing as he is the Royals' now regular number 3 hitter. Out in front and pokes it off the end of the bat. Still 3-2. Hernandez runs, and Billy lines it to right. Hernandez will go to third base. So another chance for a 2-out RBI. First and third for Mike Jacobs.
This is Billy. He's just letting the ball get deep right here. This is a changeup that kind of stayed in on his hands, and he just forced it out to right field. And that's the one thing Billy can do, and that's the advantage of being able to hit inside the ball and hit and use all the fields. Yeah, he just stayed right on that pitch all the way.
Well, twice already today the Royals have come up with a 2-out RBI. Myers loop double to center, was ruled a hit after Ramirez lost it in the sun, and then Olivo in the third inning was able to single home Jacobs, who opened with a double. And in those 2 instances, it was a 2-out RBI bailing out the Royals after they didn't move a runner after a leadoff double.
Well, that's one of the big hits for Mike Jacobs, period, because he'd been struggling coming in, and to be able to get that slider against the left-hander and drive it like that, that's got to give him a lot of confidence.
Struck out in the first inning. Ball 1. This is the way the Royals were winning games earlier this year. The situational hitting really wasn't that good, but the Royals were really clutch with 2 outs. There is never an inning where the offense doesn't want to score, but this would be a big run for the Royals, if not more, if Jacobs could find a gap or drive it over the fence. That would get some more of the momentum back to the Royals side. Royals had a 4-1 lead going into the top of the fourth, and the White Sox getting 2 runs on a 2-out single from Fields to make it a 1-run game. Left field, deep, with playable for Podsednik. He's on the warning track, and that's the inning. Royals strand 2 in the fourth. We are in a very strange position today because for Zach Greinke with a 4-1 lead early in the game, you figure this game's over and Zach would just kind of cruise to the finish line, but the White Sox getting a couple big runs in the fourth.
Well, they're making it pretty tough, and we found out about Josh Fields. You really can't throw the ball low enough for him. He took Zach's real hard slider over the middle of the plate and hit it to center field for a base hit. But I think what you notice on one occasion, Zach, even though he's throwing good stuff, he's really missed some spots. And when he misses them today, the White Sox are kind of squaring him up.
That goes back to the game on Friday when Josh Fields hit that low breaking ball against Brian Bannister for a 2-run double early in the game. Curveball at 60 miles an hour. Podsednik wouldn't go for it. He tripled leading off the game and then scored on Tomey's single. Grounded out on a good play by Bloomquist in the third. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This is the first game that Zach has really showed that 61, 64, 68 mile an hour curveball on such a regular basis.
Still 2-2. No walks, 4 strikeouts. Zach has given up 3 runs on 6 hits. White Sox pushed him to 26 pitches last inning. So he is coming up on 80 pitches now as he is beginning the 5th inning. So he's going to have to get very efficient if he's going to turn in his 6th complete game today. Podsednik, Ramirez, and Dye here in the 5th inning. 3-2. Podsednik better than a .480 hitter in his career against Greinke, going 1 for 2 today, and that's over 25 at bats. Still 3-2. Here's the James B. Nutter pitch count for Greinke, and right at 80 pitches. A very good strike to ball ratio, but a high pitch count for Zach. And that's pounded to deep right. Guillen is back. It's over his head and off the top of the fence. And Podsednik this time is going to stop at second with a double. So Scott Podsednik is now a .500 hitter against Zach Greinke. He is 13 for 26.
Well, this pitch here just stayed straight. It's like a two-seamer that stayed straight. Normally the ball would run back as he threw his previous at bat. This ball just stayed straight, and Podsednik really just shortened his swing and got the fat part of the bat on that ball and hit off the right field wall. You know, normally that pitch would move back and try to get the inside corner, but he started just right on the plate and it stayed straight.
You don't see this happen very often, a trip to the mound with Zach Greinke out there. The problem for Zach in the fourth inning was just putting the hitter away. He was jumping ahead like he normally does, but against Jim Thome leading off the fourth, ahead 1-2. Thome singled with one out. Pierzynski was down in the count 1-2. Got it to 2-2. He doubled. And then with two outs, the count was 1-2 on Fields. And he singled home two to center field. Still a tying runner at second base, nobody out.
Well, I think you really hit it on the head right there, Ryan, is just not being able to put him away. Normally, Zach can put you away when he gets you two strikes, but he's been off the corners and hasn't really had that great relationship with the umpire. You know, on his fastballs on the inside-outside corner. So you need a little bit of that too. So he's had to make more actual pitches in the middle of the plate today, and the White Sox haven't missed.
How would you like to bunt against Zach Greinke?
Well, if he's throwing the four-seamer, that'd be easy. But if he's throwing something with any life on it, that'd be kind of hard. But you got to commit to the bunt. I mean, that's the only thing about the bunting part is you just waiting for the ball to come to you, and you just want to get something down. You treat it like it's a regular at bat. If it's not a strike, don't try to bunt it. But get the ball down in your strike zone and bunt the ball. In this case, you want to bunt the ball to first base.
Pulling the bat back and almost hit by a pitch. Only one sacrifice bunt so far this year for Ramirez. And when Zach pitched the shutout against Chicago earlier this month, one of the trademark pitches of the night was a fastball up and into Ramirez, which had him bending back like a pretzel. And Ramirez wasn't the same the rest of the night.
No, once that ball gets there, I mean, it's all about keeping your nose on the inner half and not getting out on the outer half of the plate.
Not bunting. And grounding it to third. Tien will look Podsednik back and throw out Ramirez. So 1 on 1 out for Jermaine Dye, and we'll update You Call It presented by Sprint. Who do you think has the most home runs against Zach Greinke? And we asked you not to cheat, and 40% say Jim Thome, followed by Grady Sizemore, then Jermaine Dye, and then Justin Morneau. Jermaine has struck out twice and jammed badly on that foul ball. Jermaine was a .389 hitter against Greinke before today. Gets away from Olivo. That puts the runner at third with one out.
Well, it looks like Zach's made a commitment not to let the White Sox extend their arms. Against Ramirez, he kept crowding him inside, trying to get him to hit a ball at third base. And first pitch, Jermaine was inside, and that's the second pitch inside right there.
That's a pass ball charged to Miguel Olivo. The Royals are going to bring the infield in with the tying run at third and one out and good speed. So the infield all the way near the edge of the grass. And Dye to shallow left to Jesus sprinting in. Did he make the catch? He did not. White Sox tie the game. Jermaine Dye with his 34th RBI.
There's another one of those two-seamers, Ryan, that runs right in on Jermaine again. And Jermaine being a good hitter, sooner or later they're going to look for those balls inside. And he was able to get the trademark on it. And David just a few inches away from making a great catch.
So tied at 4 in the 5th inning. And now Tomey, who has 2 singles, an RBI, and a run scored. And he hits that one a mile. Lands in the crown seats with re-entry burns on it. Jermaine, one of the best in the league, getting that runner from third home with less than 2 outs. Well, you didn't figure this was going to happen. The Royals in front 4-1 at the end of 3 innings with Zach Greinke on the mound. One and one on Tomey. Just by scoring 3 runs, that's the first time in 11 starts that Zach has allowed more than 2 earned runs in a game. Goes back to last year. On the corner, Tomey not so sure. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
The one thing the White Sox have done that the other teams haven't been able to do is they've done a better job laying out that hard slider down and then to left-handers and hard sliders away. They've been able to lay out for it for the most part. And then when he did make a good one out over the middle of the plate, they've been able to put it in play.
You have to go back to August the 9th of last year. So almost 10 months ago was the last time Zach Greinke gave up 4 runs, 22 starts. Chance for 2. Royals got it. White Sox tie the game. Halfway home, Royals 4, Sox 4.
We've seen some interesting Greinke signs with all the Ks, and so far these guys, they win it in the Diamond Club. All right, tell us about all the work that went into this thing here. Some good designs and googly eyes and everything.
We wanted to be creative with it, and we wanted to give a shout out to the Fox Sports Kansas City crew. So we went with the googly eyes for the looky strikeouts, and then just your standard K for the regular. And as you can see, Jermaine Dye's having a terrible day.
Wow. Well, except for the last inning, he tied up the game. But we'll forget about that. We'll just make sure that we show here that he's having a I like the googly eyes. Maybe we can work on that in the truck and start throwing up googly eyes every time that somebody's caught looking. Now, really nice job with the high Joel and the high Ryan, all decorated. Frank just gets a simple Frank.
We brought two markers. I got Joel and Ryan, and he got Frank.
All right, hold on. Your fault.
Yeah, it was my fault. No disrespect to Frank at all. I just don't have the bubble letter capability, so I just colored it in real dark as I could without bleeding on the wood.
Frank, are you offended?
No, not at all, Joel. As long as he remembered me.
He's happy. You guys remember him. Everybody remembers Frank, so that's good.
Wait a minute, Joel.
All right, hold on. What do you want, Ryan?
They've put our names on the sign,
right.
and we need to learn their names so we can say hi to them and acknowledge them to their friends.
All right, we gotta get names here.
Bill Waugh.
Tyler Dustin.
All right, so
Bill
there
and
we go.
Tyler.
We got Bill and Tyler, and they are the designers of the googly eyes.
Tell them to look up, Joel.
Where do you want to look up? Right up to here?
No, to where we are.
Oh, wait, hold on. Look behind you. There they are. Hey, guys. All right, there you go. We got a personal. It's not even an on-camera greeting. It's a in-person hello up to the booth.
All right, thanks, Joel. And another strikeout for John Danks, his fifth, and Jose Guillen now is 0 for 3 today and 0 for his last 14. Danks really hasn't come close to a 1-2-3 inning. And this is the first time today that he's retired the leadoff man. And as you said, Frank, you think puts a lot of pressure on the pitcher when you're allowing so many base runners, but as you pointed out, it puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
Yeah, the defense is the one. I mean, they're the ones that got to be out of position all the time, and they can never relax, and they always got to make a play when they have men on leading off every inning, got a guy on base.
Three straight curveballs to Mark Teahan. He had one of those leadoff hits back in the second inning, infield single. Came around to score. That was the Royals' biggest inning, a 3-run second. And Danks struck him out in the third. To the right side, diving play Konerko to Danks, who barely gets to the bag in front of Teahan.
This is hitting in the hard luck right here. I mean, Mark stayed on a pitch, hit around it a little bit. Konerko made a really nice diving play and fed Danks really well right above the letters as he's moving, and did a super job in leading him right there and kept him on the inside part of the first base, and then have him cross the line with Teahan right there.
Bill and Tyler getting ready for their next sign. Olivo out in front of a changeup. 2 hits for Miguel Olivo. 2-out RBI in the third inning. He scored back in the second. And if you haven't heard already, John Buck was placed on the disabled list today, leaving the game with back spasms last night. And he has, I don't remember, was it termed a bulging disc or a herniated disc? He has a disc problem in his lower back, so he's on the DL. And Brian Pena was called up from Omaha. 1-2 to Olivo. First time John Buck has been on the disabled list. Brian Pena had some big hits for the Royals when he was here to begin the year. The Royals began the season carrying 3 catchers, which allowed Trey Hillman to put both of his catchers in the lineup, although Trey has also done that since Brian Pena was sent to the minor leagues, but at least he didn't have to sweat it out when he had both catchers in the lineup.
Well, we know Brian Pena, when he did get in the game, he always brought a sense of excitement to the game, a sense of of excitement in what he did. He brought a lot of emotion into it. And John Buck also, when he played, and he brought a lot of emotion in his game also.
Cole to Ramirez at shortstop, and John Danks has his first 1-2-3 inning. We're tied at 4 at the end of 5. For doubles, Billy Butler, David DeJesus, Mitch Meyer, and Mike Jacobs. DeJesus and Meyer with RBI doubles. Coors Light Freeze Can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Zach Greinke has given up 4 runs, 3 of which are earned. An unearned run in the 5th because of a pass ball. It's the first time he has allowed 4 runs since early August of last year. 22 starts. Slow curveball for a strike on Konerko. 2 fly balls to Meyer in center field today. One ball, 1 strike. Konerko followed by Pierzynski, who has 2 hits, and Dwayne Wise. Just foul. And with those 2 flyouts, Paul Konerko is hitting a solid 114 against Zach Greinke, 5 out of 44.
Well, so much for looking at statistics, whether or not you should play against this guy or not.
Went around. Konerko didn't agree. White Sox haven't been happy with a couple of appeals from first base umpire Paul Schreiber. Zach with his 5th strikeout.
Well, this is what Zach usually gets from. That's what he's usually gotten from all the other teams he's pitched against, and this one it was pretty obvious that Paul went on this pitch here, but. The White Sox, for the most part, have done a good job of not swinging at that hard slider.
Well, we understand that when Joel went down to talk to our our googly-eyed K's, still learning the English language, so bear with me, that apparently Nate and Jamie, their feelings were hurt that they are not included on our sign, and so they were added, as well as some well wishes for Paul Splittorff, who's at the game today. Be spectacled. That's what I was trying to say. There they are, feeling much better, although Jamie's still shaking his head.
They've got the blue shirt on, so they feel like they should be included with the group.
Is that all it takes, a blue shirt?
Today.
Wayne Wise has flied out to center, struck out looking. DeJesus fades back and left. Greinke gets the Sox in order in the 6th.
Independence, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Jeff will win $200. But if the Royals hit a grand slam, the key word being out of the park, Jeff will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
David DeJesus, Luis Hernandez, and Willie Bloomquist. David has a 2-run double to center field and a line out to center field. So really trying to use the middle of the field against John Danks. Double is David's first hit of this series. 2 balls, 1 strike. Danks approaching the mid-90s with his pitch count. Octavio Dotel is throwing in the White Sox bullpen. 3-1. Royals with 3 runs in the 2nd inning, another run in the 3rd, and had a 4-1 lead, but the White Sox wouldn't go away with 2 in the 4th and 1 in the 5th. DeJesus takes a walk, and that's Danks' first walk since the 1st inning. In fact, the first man that he faced. So the go-ahead runner is on with nobody out. And now Luis Hernandez, who had a chance to lay down a sacrifice bunt back in the 2nd inning. But after fouling the first bunt attempt away, was allowed to swing away in the at-bat and struck out. He singled in the 4th.
Well, I'd really be surprised if he's not bunting here. This is one of those ones where you go all the way probably to 3rd strike if he doesn't get the first 2 down.
Hernandez playing in his 10th game of the year, and that'll help the Royals out. Danks throws it away, and now Hernandez will be asked to bunt to Jesus over to third.
Yeah, this is one of those plays that most left-handers have where they step off and throw to first, but he stepped off but didn't have a good grip, and he held on to it too long and threw it just by Konerko at first base.
So Fields comes in at third. Konerko on the edge of the grass at first. 1 ball, no strikes.
That's a good job by Luis. He's going to make him throw a strike. A lot of times you give a guy a bunt, he wants to bunt the first thing that comes up there. But you just have to treat it like an at bat. If it's not a strike, don't swing. And if it's not a strike, don't bunt.
On the corner. Last year, Luis Hernandez played his career high in games in the big leagues, 36 with the Orioles.
Well, this situation here, Luis wants to bunt the ball to third, and Danks is throwing it away because he wants him to bunt the ball to first base.
And the play is to first, so not exactly where Hernandez wanted it, but he gets the job done. And now if we take another look at the bunt, it appears that Ozzie Guillen is going to make a change.
Well, it really wasn't the type of bunt you want to see right back to the pitcher, but just soft enough. David did a real good job getting a great jump off second base.
So right-hand batter coming up in Willie Bloomquist. Ozzie Guillen has not made a decision yet. Now he does. Emphatically. It'll be Dotel against Bloomquist. The Royals have David DeJesus at third base with 1 out. Don't forget the second annual Sky Show is at Kauffman Stadium on Friday, June the 12th. That's the Royals and the Cincinnati Reds during interleague play. IB, Pepsi, and 106.5 The Wolf are bringing a complete audio-visual spectacular, the biggest fireworks show in the Midwest here at Kauffman Stadium. Again, that's Friday, June the 12th. Come on out. So John Danks is done after 5 1/3 innings. Octavio Dotel is in. Off to an excellent start, 1.1 ERA. pitched on Friday night. It's a scoreless 8th, giving up a walk. Well, the Royals will be confronted with a situation that has plagued them all year, getting a runner home from third base with less than 2 outs. The White Sox are going to bring the infield in.
Well, Willie at the plate, there's always that chance of a squeeze, but Dotel's going to be getting up there around 95 miles an hour, so he's got to make sure that he can get on top of the ball and get it down, but he can't get inside the ball and drive the ball to right field, and that's an advantage to Willie Bloomquist here.
The last time I remember Willie Bloomquist batting with David DeJesus at third base and 1 out was in the bottom of the 9th inning, last homestand against Kerry Wood, and that capped a 4-run bottom of the 9th, putting the Royals in front. 1 ball, 1 strike. Very late swing. Down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Willie, you know, you can tell by that swing, he wasn't trying to drive the ball. He was just trying to kind of poke the ball and make contact and just get it over the drawn in infield.
Yeah, it was just a high fastball running up and in, and that's a pretty tough ball to hit right there. Down a little lower, he probably would have at least fouled the ball off.
You know, the intent can be good where, you know, you're not trying to hit the ball hard. You're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about the team getting the runner home. But it doesn't change that you still have to hit a good quality pitch.
You still got to be a strike, and you still got to get something that you can get in the air, hopefully. But right now with 2 strikes, you got to really just get a ball you can put in play hard somewhere. You just want the infielders have to go left and right 2 or 3 steps.
Down on strikes. And now the Royals, for the 3rd time today, if they're going to get that runner home, they're going to need a 2-out hit. DeJesus hit a 2-run double back in the 2nd inning, and then he was at second with nobody out. And the only reason he scored was because Mitch Meyer blooped a double to center, and Meyer fouls it away here. And then in the 3rd inning, Jacobs led off with a double, and the only reason he scored was because of a 2-out base hit from Olivo. The Royals never got him to third base. The Royals have been clutch today with some 2-out hits. Royals just don't appear to be picking up the ball from Dotel. A lot of very late swings on the fastball.
Late swing, and fastball is up out of the zone also. He's got that lower 3/4 arm slot, and the ball will run up and in the right-handers as those 2 fastballs they threw by Bloomquist, and the same pitch to Meyer.
Mitch 1 out of 3 with that bloop double in the 2nd inning. Appeared to be a pop-up into shallow center, but White Sox shortstop Alexi Ramirez going out, lost it in the sun, and that scored DeJesus. Today's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Mitch Meyer. David DeJesus opened the inning with a walk, got a big break when Danks tried to pick him off with an error, went to second, to third on a sac bunt, and Dotel gets Meyer. Pierzynski down to first to complete the strikeout. Runner at third, 1 out. Dotel strikes out Bloomquist and Meyer. Tagged Zach Greinke with the most earned runs this year, 3. They also have an unearned run. And the Royals' production on the offensive side coming from the lower third of the order. Olivo, DeJesus, and Hernandez combined 4 for 7 with 2 runs scored and 3 RBIs. So the White Sox, who had not scored a single run against Zach in their first 15 innings this year, have come up with 4 today. And Josh Fields has the biggest hit so far for the White Sox, a 2-out 2-run single in the 4th. That's the second time he has done that in this series. He had a 2-out 2-strike 2-run base hit on Friday against Brian Bannister in the 2nd inning. Zach right around 100 pitches, and the Royals have activity in the bullpen. On the corner, 1-2 on Fields. 1 ball, 2 strikes has not been a friendly count for Zach today, believe it or not. 2-2.
He just misses on that pitch, and then he's got to come back, and on 2-2 you got to come back with a little bit better pitch. And I think that's where the White Sox have been able to benefit.
A rare changeup from Zach, and it's fouled back.
Well, the changeup, they pretty much stayed straight, didn't have much movement to it. It was up out over the plate, and Josh Fields really had a good swing at it. It just sort of, you normally like to see that ball turn over, but it just stayed right up there and said, "Hit me." I mean, he just missed it actually.
Oof. That could have been ugly. Struck him out with a slider. Zach's 6th of the game. So 1 down in the 7th inning.
Well, normally you see Zach's strikeout slider is bouncing in the dirt away. This one stayed on the outside corner up, and Fields just swung right through it actually.
Number 9 hitter Chris Getz 0 for 2. One ball, 1 strike. White Sox scored in the first. Royals with 3 in the second, 1 in the third, and had a 4-1 lead. 1-2 to Getz, but Chicago with 2 in the 4th and 1 in the 5th. 3 of the 4 runs for the White Sox today coming with 2 outs. Late movement, but a little bit high. Got him looking. At the knees at 96.
Well, this is what he's been doing all day. He's been driving the ball down to the bottom of the zone with his fastball, but it just depends on whether or not he's going to get the call or not. You know, whether or not it's just on or just off the outside corner of the plate.
So 7 strikeouts, and now Scott Podsednik, who has given Zach a bad time today and a bad time in their 26 matchups. Podsednik has 13 hits, 2 extra base hits today, and both times he scored. It's 0-2. And the way he's pitching now, I know he's up to 113 pitches, but do you bring him out again? We'll find out. 1, 2, 3 down go the White Sox. Zach has retired the last 7. 7th inning stretch. And we go around the league, brought to you by Panera Bread. Cleveland beating New York. So that snaps the Yankees' 3-game winning streak. Boston over Toronto. Toronto now has won 3 in a row after losing 9 straight. Detroit getting a great performance from Edwin Jackson, who gave up 2 hits in 8 innings, and they shut out the Orioles. Minnesota in front of Tampa Bay in the bottom of the 8th. Tampa Bay going for a sweep of Minnesota. Oakland in front of Texas. 5.5 game lead for the Rangers in the West over the Angels, who are down at home against Seattle. Well, summer is here, and it's time to get a Royals beach towel from Hy-Vee. First 20,000 fans will get this great summer accessory. It first begins with a towel bag and then a beach towel. It's coming up on Saturday, June the 13th, with the Cincinnati Reds in town. 1-800-6-ROYALS, Royals.com, area Hy-Vee food stores, or the stadium box offices for tickets. Octavio Dotel stays on for the bottom of the 7th inning. He bailed out Chicago in the 6th. David DeJesus opened with a walk. John Danks trying to pick him off, threw the ball away. David to second. Luis Hernandez bunted him to third. Then Dotel came on and struck out Bloomquist and Meyer. Two hits for Billy Butler today. A double in the first inning, a single in the 4th. He's hit in 8 straight, and his batting average is up to .294. Billy is 1 for 4 in at bats against Dotel. On Friday night against Dotel, he lined out to center field. Late on the fastball. Boy, the Royals are really late. Now, Dotel throws hard, don't get me wrong. I mean, but 94, 95, but not necessarily swings like they're overmatched, swings like they're just not picking the ball up out of his hand.
Well, a lot of time, too, Ryan, is when you're trying to hit the ball too hard, and when you're trying to swing too hard, it slows your bat down, too, and that makes the fastball look a lot faster than it really is.
2-2 on Billy. Still 2-2. Today is the Royals' 50th game of the year. So just last week we were talking about the Royals reaching the quarter pole, if you will, at 40 games. But when you get to 54 games, now you're talking about the 1/3 mark of the season. Dotel has faced 3, struck out 3. And now Mike Jacobs. Don't forget about Royals Alumni Fans Batting Practice, where you can spend 4 hours at Kauffman Stadium with 10 Royals alumni. They'll work with your swing. You'll take batting practice on the field. It's July the 11th from 8 a.m. until noon. If you'd like information, call the number 816-504-4150. It's limited to just 40 spots. Mike Jacobs, 1 out of 3, a double and a run scored in the 3rd inning. Two and 0. So anyway, getting to the 1/3 mark of the season, and you know, every team has somewhat of an identity, and you know, the Royals are in a bit of a struggle right now. I think the identity coming into the season was going to be the pitching, the starting pitching, and then of course one of the game's best closers in Joakim Soria. But this offense really is still kind of searching for an identity. What are they going to count on every night? What's their approach every night to score some runs?
Well, Ron, I think they have the basic approach to what they want to do every night. I think a lot of the hitters are just having a hard time maintaining a good approach individually every night, where they come out knowing what they want to do at the plate. They should have their swings figured out by now. They should have their balance at the plate figured out by now. And they should have their ability to hit good pitches figured out by now. So just maintaining that consistency from game to game just hasn't come to this offense to this point. I know you hear all the things about trying too hard, trying to do too much. You know, all the guys have heard that before. It's about knowing yourself as a hitter and what you bring to the table, and then going out there and executing that on the field. You know, just basically doing what the game is telling you to do.
Hit hard, and that's Guillen's first hit of the series. He had been 0 for 10, and over a longer stretch 0 for his last 14, but man, he hit the stuffing out of that one. So 2 on, 1 out. Mark Teahen coming up. So a left-hand batter coming up, and now it looks like a left-hand pitcher coming in. It's hard-throwing Matt Thornton, tied at 4 in the bottom of the 7th. Fans with MLB.com mobile services, you can get text updates, watch videos, and listen to games live on your mobile phone. To find out what's available, text SHOP to 65246. Standard message fees apply, and products are available from select carriers on select handsets. This is Matt Thornton, so you go from a nasty hard-throwing righty to a nasty hard-throwing lefty.
Yeah, Matt can really rush it up there. He can get it up there 95, 96 miles an hour. And left-handers don't usually see that too often.
Thornton's first appearance in this series. Teahen a little late on the fastball. Mark 1 for 3 today with a run scored. And you figure tough matchup for a left-hand batter. Well, usually yes, but Teahen with 5 hits and 13 at-bats against Thornton. The Royals just having a tough time with the fastball the last 2 innings. Now, again, 96 miles an hour.
Well, I think it boils down to swinging at strikes. You know, swinging at strikes in your zone. You know, Matt Thornton's high fastball out over the plate is really not a good pitch to hit. You got to let him get down, and whether you're a low ball hitter, mid-range hitter, but you have to get the ball in your zone those first 2 strikes, and then but he just expanded his zone on you. And that pitch is just awful tough to hit for a left-hander down 2 strikes already.
Well, it's something that Trey Hillman says so often after the Royals will face a tough pitcher. He'll take nothing away from the pitcher. He'll say, you know, yeah, so-and-so pitched a good game. However, as an offense, you need to make adjustments.
You got to make adjustments. And the number one adjustment is what kind of hitter am I? Am I middle in, middle away? Am I down? You got to know that. And then your first 2 strikes, you got to get a ball where you swing at the ball best in your zone. And then to get the 2 strikes, you open it up and try to put it in play. But when you chase the pitcher's pitch, your first 2 strikes, I mean, you have nowhere to go.
2 hits for Miguel Olivo. A run driven in, and that came with 2 outs. Last night he tied the game with this home run.
And this is huge, coming off the bench, being able to give your team a lift like this. And I asked him about this home run. I said, does this remind you of the one you almost got in Anaheim when Torrey Hunter made the great play? And he says, no, because when I hit this one, you saw my little hop. And when I get the little hop, I know I got it.
Now he's down 1 ball, 2 strikes. It happens so often that a player not in the starting lineup into the game unexpectedly and has a role in the game. And John Buck coming out in the 3rd inning, placed on the disabled list today with back spasms, and Olivo hitting that home run in the 8th. Just barely nicked it. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. With 1 out, Jacobs walked against Dotel. Guillen followed with a single, and now Thornton in, striking out Tien. And another 1-2 to Olivo. That gets past Pierzynski, who stumbles, and Olivo's going to reach. Now it got past Pierzynski. You could hear the ball hit very close to one of our microphones down in the field, and Pierzynski was going to get a pretty good bounce off that signage board, but just got his feet tangled up.
Well, that is a perfect hit on the signage board right there. And he wanted to go to his right. The ball went back to his left, and that was enough to get him off balance.
So 3 strikeouts in the inning, but only 2 outs. And the bases loaded for David DeJesus.
This is a great opportunity.
David already with a 2-run double. Taking a look at a Thornton fastball. Good swings against the lefty John Danks. Now Thornton a little different approach than Danks. But a 2-run double, a line out to center, and a walk.
You just don't want to try to pull him. You just want to go with the pitch.
Started to go. Stopped. Says Chad Fairchild down at 3rd base. It's 1-1. A .400 hitter with the bases loaded in his career, but this year 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Ramirez makes the play, and the Royals leave the bases loaded in the 7th. The Royals have stranded 10 today. Sweep. The Royals trying to avoid it. You'll hear all about it during Boulevard Royals Live after the game from Rival Sports Bar with Joel Goldberg and Jamie Quirk. This is the final game of the homestand. Day off tomorrow, then the Royals are on the road for 9 games in 10 days. Boulevard Royals Live brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City's beer. Zach Greinke will not win his 9th today. He's out after 7 innings. And Jamie Wright takes over in the 8th. He'll get the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Alexi Ramirez grounded out 3 times against Greinke. Sinker misses outside. One and one. th game for Jamie Wright. The league is hitting .309 against him. Two and one. Zach Greinke with 114 pitches today. Gave up 8 hits in 7 innings. 4 runs, 3 earned, no walks again. 7 strikeouts, giving him 89 this year, second most in the league. Up the middle, backhanded Bloomquist. And Ramirez is out number 1. So Ramirez 0 for 4, and now Jermaine Dye. Jermaine 1 out of 3, 2 strikeouts against Zach, but his single with 1 out in the 5th inning tied the game at 4. On the inside corner, strike 1. Game today now in the hands of the bullpen, and that bullpen should get a big lift before the beginning of the next road trip when Joakim Soria is scheduled to come off of the disabled list. He pitched yesterday in Arizona, flew back to Kansas City after that outing. Trey Hillman saying that Joakim experiencing normal soreness after throwing. Going to be re-examined today, and if everything looks good, number 48 will be available on Tuesday. Luis Hernandez gets Jermaine Dye 2 down in the 8th inning. Coincidence or not, the last game that Joakim Soria pitched, it wasn't pretty, but he got the save against the Seattle Mariners, and the Royals were 18 and 11 and had a nice lead in the American League Central. Soria did not pitch again after that. There's the save against Seattle. He gave up a run. And the Royals have been 5 and 15 since. So beginning on Tuesday, the Royals are going to go on another 18 and 11 run.
Well, as we said in the opening, there are a lot of those games weren't Joakim Soria games, and you know, they really just haven't had a lot of those games where you would just say, man, if we had Joakim, we could have won these games. You know, basically it's been total lack of the continuity between the offense, the pitching, and the defense, and everything just sort of just been out of whack for about 10 days, and they just haven't been able to pull it all together.
1-2 to Tomey. Bloomquist out in shallow right field. 2-2. .43 home runs in his career against the Royals. That is the most of any opponent in Royals history. And it will stay at 43. Solid 8th inning for Jamie Wright. Rapid rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. And happy birthday to Royals Vice President of Communications and Broadcasting, Mike Swanson, who is actually going to celebrate that birthday tomorrow, but the Royals have an off day. So happy birthday to Swanee, who just announced that Zach Greinke now has a streak of 110 consecutive innings without allowing a home run. Thornton throws out Luis Hernandez, who's 1 for 3. And that streak is the longest in the big leagues in 12 years. Kevin Brown in 1996 and into 1997 had a streak of 118 innings without allowing a run. And now with one out, Ozzie Guillen is going to go to the mound with his athletic trainer Herb Schneider. A little bit of concern about Matt Thornton after that throw over to first base.
Looks like he feels the ball in pretty good shape here. Looks like everything looked okay in terms of his balance and his throwing. Really didn't see any back foot slipping or anything like that. Is that a left knee?
Now he's going to get a warm-up toss or two. Now Thornton normally does not pitch a whole inning. Coming into today, 19 appearances, 18 and a third innings. But Ozzie Guillen has asked him to go an inning already, if you count the 2 outs in the 7th and the 1 out here in the 8th. And he's going to stay in after getting Hernandez to face Willie Bloomquist. The Royals have an off day tomorrow. The White Sox do not. They'll head home and play the Oakland A's. And right now the Sox are in a stretch of 16 consecutive days without an off day. Ball 1 on Bloomquist, who is 0 for 3, walk back in the first inning. One ball, 1 strike. Well, if he's favoring the knee just a little, that could be the difference between an unhittable fastball and a hittable fastball.
Well, the one thing you notice that when you know a guy is throwing the ball well is when the hitters aren't even fouling the ball off. I mean, that's one of the few fastballs he's thrown that's been fouled off.
That's Don Cooper, White Sox pitching coach. Still 1-2 on Bloomquist. Willie leading off for the third straight game. Coco Crisp has been out with that sore shoulder since Tuesday. Ramirez throwing on the run and just got Bloomquist. No, 2 outs, nobody on for Meyer.
Well, no lack of hustle on Willie's part here. He does everything he can to beat this play, but just did get him at first base.
Up the middle, and there's Ramirez again. So Thornton pitches into the 8th. Royals down in order. Tied at 4 as we go to the 9th. Royals baseball brought to you today by Panera Bread. Explore a menu full of hearty soups, hand-tossed salads, inventive sandwiches, and savory breakfast items. Panera Bread, where every detail matters. Jamie Wright got the White Sox in order in the 8th. Stays on for the 9th with Konerko, Pierzynski, and Wise coming up. Konerko 0 for 3 against Greinke today, making him 5 out of 45 against Greinke in his career. 2 ground balls and a strikeout for Jamie Wright in the 8th. One ball, 2 strikes. Royals had a 4-1 lead at the end of 3 innings. White Sox tied it in the 5th, and nobody has scored since. Royals have had a few more opportunities than the White Sox since then. Curveball strikes him out. 4 up, 4 down against Jamie Wright.
This is one of the few curveballs that Jamie would throw. He's mainly a sinker baller, but that ball that's really dropped off the table on the outside corner. That was a great sequence of pitches by Jamie Wright right there.
A.J. Pierzynski just announced into the game, and Trey Hillman is out of the dugout. And it'll be John Bale to face Pierzynski. Tied at 4 in the top of the 9th. Pitching for just the 4th time since coming back from the DL, and what a return from the DL it was a week ago today in St. Louis. This is against Rick Ankiel with the Royals in front late in the game, and Ankiel up there with runners in scoring position. Big sweeping slider to strike him out. Struck out Khalil Green, and then the ground ball from Nick Stavinoa, and the Royals went on to win 3-2. And now Bale comes on in a tie game in the 9th, 1 out, nobody on, to face left-hand hitting A.J. Pierzynski. Two hits for Pierzynski and a run scored against Zach Greinke. This is the 3rd straight game that Bale has appeared in this series. That is just fair. And then bobbled by DeJesus, but Pierzynski decides to hold with a single. So a 3-hit game for Pierzynski, and he has 7 hits in this series and 13 hits in his last 5 games in Kansas City.
Well, he did a real good job standing on this sweeping curveball by John Bell, and just got it right off the end of the bat to hit right inside the foul line down the left field line. And David tried to be a little too quick right there, looked up, and the ball bounced away, but Pierzynski's speed just made him say, well, I better stay at first base, you know.
And now Brian Anderson, a right-hand hitter, is going to hit for Dwayne Wise. Wise was 0 for 3. Bale pitching the game on Friday. Pitched the top of the 9th. Retired the White Sox in order, and then last night pitched the 8th. Gave up 1 run with a couple of walks. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now it gets away from Olivo, so Pierzynski gets to second base anyway. Wild pitch charge to John Bale. Willie Bloomquist coming in to check on the signs. Runner at second base. The catcher doesn't put down one sign. He'll go through a series of signs. So Bloomquist wants to know which one is the sign that Bale's paying attention to, so he can cheat maybe a step or two.
Well, this is when the infielders, they just want to be able to knock the ball down and keep it on the infield. So whatever they have to do to do that, that's the job of the infielder right now, is keep the ball on the infield at any cost.
The stat of the game today is left on base. White Sox have made the most of their opportunities. They have stranded 3. The Royals have stranded 10. Anderson, that is just foul. And thank goodness it was. He can run. He may have ended up on third base after driving in Pierzynski. As Denny Matthews likes to say sometimes in a game like this, one team made the most out of the least and the other has made the least out of the most.
Well, in the course of the game, you're going to have some opportunities. If which team takes advantage of them, it's going to be the winner.
Laid off the curveball, and it's 3-2 to Anderson. There you go, and that's probably exactly what Trey Hillman is thinking of. The thought from his head is the 10 left on base. Ball 4 just missed inside, so 2 on 1 out. And Josh Fields coming up. Trey Hillman coming out. Juan Cruz is warming up in the bullpen. So Bale faces 2, allows both to reach. Cruz to face Fields. Way to propose. Allie, will you marry me? Love, Chris. And then I think in the lower corner there, I think it says, I said yes. There we go. Congratulations. Juan Cruz took the loss in last night's game, giving up 2 runs in the 9th inning. He faced Josh Fields in that inning, and Fields walked, and now he'll face Josh Fields with 2 on 1 out in the 9th. And Josh Fields into the series was struggling, hitting just .229, but he's 5 for 10 with 4 RBIs. He had the hit on Friday that started to break the game open for the White Sox, a 2-out, 2-strike, 2-run double, and today a 2-out, 2-strike, 2-run single, which got the White Sox back in the game when they were down 4-1. Pierzynski at second, Anderson at first, and Cruz misses outside.
This would be a great time to get a ground ball right here. Josh Fields a real good double play candidate. Juan Cruz has that sinker working, and he can induce a ground ball, and Ross to be back in the dugout.
Called strike. 1-1. Zach Greinke out after 7 innings. Zach and Jamie Wright had retired 11 in a row. And John Bale in here in the 9th gave up the Pierzynski single and the Anderson walk. And Trey Hillman handing the ball to Cruz. 2 balls, 1 strike. Almost got away from Olivo. Well, the bulk of the damage was done on Friday, but the White Sox in this series have outscored the Royals 20-9. But they have done that with just 1 home run, and that was a solo home run from Jermaine Dye on Friday night in the 1st inning. Ozzie Guillen, even though his team won the division last year, was not pleased with the way his offense went about it. Now, the White Sox led the majors in home runs, but over 50% of their runs last year came by way of the home run. He wanted to see more of a balanced offense this year, like they were in 05 when they won the World Series, and he has seen it in this series. 20 runs scored, only 1 on a home run.
They've just been doing a real good job of getting that big base hit or moving that runner along when they had to, and get him in scoring position.
Pretty good slider there on 3-1.
This is what Juan Cruz is capable of right here. He's got a real tight slider, late breaking slider out on the outside corner. And now he's got a good sinker when he keeps it down in the zone. The ball turns over and he induces ground balls. But he's a big swing and miss guy.
48 strikeouts this year for Fields. He takes a walk. Loaded up with 1 out for Chris Getz. Trey has a left-hander in the mound, Horacio Ramirez. But Trey is going to stay put on the bench and leave Cruz in there.
This is an interesting scenario for Ozzie Guillen. He's got so many options here with Getz at the plate. And the safety squeeze, regular squeeze.
Hit hard, but pulled foul. Getz typically a good contact hitter, tough to strike out. He does have a strikeout today, but that was against Greinke, so that kind of doesn't count. He has been playing since April with a fracture on the tip of his right middle finger, so he is not at 100%. And as you said, Frank, a hitter whose hands are not 100% is never hitting at 100%.
Well, that's true, but that's what they like about him, Ryan, is that he's a baseball guy and he wants to be out there. And I'd say he's not really outstanding in any one area, but just good in all of them. And right now, the thing they're looking for now is just a contact, hopefully in the middle of the field for them.
Gets away from Olivo, but on it quickly. Pierzynski, who does not run well, didn't even threaten to come to the plate. 2-1 on Getz.
Well, Miguel does a great job here. This is really a tough ball to block right here. It just comes up into his belly, and Miguel he's probably one of the quickest catchers in the league and getting off from his knees and tracking down those balls left and right.
Pierzynski reached with a single against John Bale. That was with 1 out. Anderson reached with a walk, and Cruz came in, and Fields reached with a walk. And Getz pounds it to right field. Guillen is back. That's over his head. The White Sox are going to get 2 runs barely. Now on his way to third is Josh Fields. I don't know what that was all about. That almost resulted in 1 run. Jeff Cox for a moment was holding Brian Anderson coming around third base, but then decided to wave him home, and it was still close at the plate. So Chris Getz drives in 2 to make it 6-4.
Well, Jose did a real good job hitting the first cutoff man, Willie Bloomquist, who made a strong throw to the plate. Oliva did a good job with handling that ball up in his chest like that, but wasn't able to make the tag. I think Jeff Cox saw that if he holds that runner up, he's going to have a log jam at third base, so he went ahead and let him go.
So Juan Cruz last night gave up 2 runs in the 9th inning, and today has given up 2 runs in the 9th inning. So Getz with a 2-run double. 1-1 on Podsednik, who had 2 extra base hits and 2 runs scored against Zach Greinke.
Yeah, Juan left the fastball up for Getz.
One and 2, throw down to second. Was not near the bag. Let me correct myself on the scoring. Since the runner was thrown out at third base, Josh Fields, which was 9-4-2-5, Getz is credited with a single, not a double. He goes down to second base on the throw. So it's a 2-run single. Last night the Royals had an early lead, 2-0, with the White Sox tying and scoring twice in the 9th to pull ahead. Pretty close to the same scenario today. 4-1 lead was Zach Greinke on the mound. And the way he's been going this year, it's almost like you can just put the game in autopilot and let the machine get us to the runway. But the White Sox with 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th to tie it, and now 2 in the 9th. Still 2-2 on Podsednik.
I think that's just the beauty of baseball, Ryan. You just never know what you're going to get when the game starts, and what seemed to be a shoe-in is not always the case, because you still got to throw it over the plate and still got to get guys out and still have to execute yourself as a ball club in order to get through those 27 outs and get it done.
Three balls, 2 strikes. In the bottom of the 9th against Bobby Jenks, the Royals will send up the middle of the order. Billy Butler, Mike Jacobs, Jose Guillen, and if anybody gets on, Mark Teahen. Into right field. Guillen with a strong throw to the plate, but Getz will score. It's a 3-run 9th inning. And that'll be a single for Podsednik, going to second on the throw home. So a 3-hit game for Podsednik. He's had some big hits for the White Sox today.
Well, here's a fastball that Juan Cruz leaves on the inner half, and Podsednik really get a great swing on this ball. But right here, you see when you overthrow that cutoff guy, you really allow Podsednik to take the extra base, and now you still have another man in scoring position.
Slider for strike 1. 2 of the runs charged to John Bale. That last run charged to Juan Cruz. So technically the first 2 runs scoring while Cruz was on the mound, but charged to Bale. And Ramirez literally throws the bat at the ball and fouls it away.
This is usually a little safety thing there. When you know you can't reach it, you know that you've already given your body away, sold out to the left field side, so you've reached as far as you can reach, so you just hope you can foul the ball off. You see that a lot.
Still 0-2. 0 for 4 days so far for Alexi Ramirez with 4 ground balls. And he's feeling a lot better now than he was earlier in the game when he lost a ball in the sun, which resulted in a bloop RBI double and put the Royals in front in the second inning 3-1 with Greinke pitching. Jeff Cox, what a play.
That's like being too ready as a coach. Back to his second base days. Expect every ball to be hit to you.
Outstanding range.
When I was out there on the line, I let them all go. I didn't want anybody to say, 10 years ago you'd have caught that one.
Down goes Ramirez. I don't think it hit him. It goes to the screen, and Podsednik moves up to third base. So a runner at third with 2 down. Let's take a last look, and you call it. Presented by Sprint. Who has the most home runs against Zach Greinke in the Central Division? Jermaine Dye has 3. Justin Morneau has not homered. Grady Sizemore, his first Major League home run, his first Major League Grand Slam against Zach, but that's it. And Jim Thome has 2. Thank you for participating today. It's 2-2 on Ramirez.
You know, the one thing I noticed about Ramirez is that he's got a rubber body. I mean, he's got the ability to bend out of the way of some pretty far inside pitches, and I mean that's being athletic right there.
Tian makes a play at third, but the White Sox come up with 3 in the 9th. 2 charged to Bale, 1 to Cruz. Goldberg and Jamie Quirk. Chicago gets to Royals in the 9th. Nice job, Al Brodden. 3 earned runs allowed by Zach Greinke. The first time in 11 starts he's given up more than 2 earned runs going back to last year. No home runs, however. And the Royals bottom of the order with the production today. The Royals go into the bottom of the 9th down by 3. Brian Anderson, who batted for Dwayne Wise, stays in the game in center field. And Chris Getz, who came up with the big hit, is out. Jason Nix takes over for him at second. And on the mound is Bobby Jenks, a scoreless 9th last night for his 11th save. And he'll see Billy Butler, Mike Jacobs, and Jose Guillen. Two-hit game for Billy. First inning double, a single in the fourth, an 8-game hitting streak. Billy hit an absolute rocket against Bobby Jenks last night. A fastball at 100 miles an hour, and Billy hit it about 100 miles an hour, but lined out to center field. Billy now 1 out of 6 against Bobby Jenks. No balls, 2 strikes. Royals scored 4 runs in 5 1/3 against John Danks, who was bailed out in the 6th inning by Octavio Dotel. Royals had a runner at third with 1 out. Dotel came on and got the last 2 outs by way of a strikeout. Matt Thornton an inning and 2/3 scoreless. He's the pitcher of record, and now Jenks. And his curveball is hit to Nix, who is tested right away and throws out Butler. Billy's 2 for 5, 1 away in the bottom of the 9th. Bobby Jenks several pitches last night, anywhere from 98 to 100. Last year became the first White Sox pitcher in history to have 3 consecutive 30-save seasons. Jenks ended the game last night striking out Mike Jacobs, who was pinch hitting for Alberto Callaspo.
And when you can come out of the pen throwing 98 miles an hour, Ryan, that's big in itself. And when you can control it for strikes, that's big twice. And then if you got that hard slider to go with it as a closer, that's 2 dominating pitches right there.
Podsednik out in left field retires Jacobs, 2 down in the 9th inning. Bobby Jenks was claimed off of waivers from the Angels. So he was not a high round draft pick. He was not acquired in a big trade. Drafted by the Angels in 2000 and then taken off of waivers in 2004. The very next year he was the White Sox closer on a world championship team. He became the 2nd fastest in Major League history to 100 saves. Only Kazuhiro Sasaki, who used to pitch for the Mariners, did it in fewer games. Two and 0 on Guillen. Singled last time up to snap an 0 for 14. Two and 1. One of the reasons the Angels allowed Bobby Jenks to get away on waivers, he had had a pretty serious elbow surgery in 2004. He still has some screws in his right forearm.
I guess that would give him a bionic arm. I tell you what, he hadn't slowed his fastball down at all.
You can hear that sound from the bionic man before he pitches. Just barely made contact. 2 and 2 on Guillen.
It's amazing how far surgeries have come since when I played. Normally, if you had to have a Tommy John surgery or any type of shoulder surgery in the 70s, you're pretty limited in what you can do after that. Now it seems like the players come back throwing even harder when they come back.
Or they've got hardware in their arm. Go to Home Depot, pick up a couple of screws, put the arm back together.
Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to see after Steve Busby hurt his arm where he would have been with today's surgery.
Into right field, Jermaine Dye is there, and the White Sox sweep the 3-game series. So Chicago has won their last 4 series. And this is a bad day for the Royals, not just with the loss and with the sweep, but a lot of wins